Hello and welcome back to Karma Stories. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have some stories for you from the IDoWorkHereLady subreddit. Yesterday we did I Don't Work Here. Today we're doing I Do Work Here. Let's just get right into the stories today. It's time to jump right in. This story comes to us from Snack Girl Currywurst. I can wait, but so will you. I worked at a bar which one day had a huge event coming up. I arrived 1 hour before opening time to start my shift, when I already saw a line of round about 50 people outside the bar. What a fun surprise. As I was fighting my way through the crowd, a guy in his 50s rather harshly stepped in my way and even nudged me off balance. He told me to wait in line like everyone else. I tried to tell him that I worked there, but he wasn't having it. Since I'm small and he's not, I wasn't even able to see the bouncer to make him open the door. We have a glass front on the building. So I just stood there. The group around this guy loudly dropped passive-aggressive comments regarding people who think they are entitled to skip lines and how they'd be ashamed of themselves to just stand there like that when being busted, which I just ignored. Then one of my regulars tapped my shoulder. "Hey, aren't you working tonight?" "Yeah, but these guys won't let me pass, and I'm too small to see the bouncer, so I figured if they want to make me wait to start my shift, then they'll probably be fine to wait for their beer too. I'll just do the prep work once I'm in." Their faces were priceless. Bonus points for my regulars to tear them a new one for hindering the best bartender there is to do her job. Mouthy guy and his friend group apologized several times all through the night and left a nice tip. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Black Avenger. It says, "I would have told the bouncer to find and destroy. Kick them out." OP responded and said, "I stood there for like 5 minutes or so. Regulars came to my rescue rather quickly. I'm not kicking out well-paying customers before they could even enter just for having a lapse in judgment and apologizing after. I'd rather save everyone the hassle." Another commenter called Lord of Tidar said, "At least they're decent people if they apologize and give you a big tip afterwards. Also, nice of you, OP, not escalating any further." The fact that these guys apologized many times and left a good tip for OP means that they really didn't mean to hold her back. They honestly thought she was somebody who was trying to cut through line, and if they'd been standing there for a long time themselves, I can understand the frustration. I'm not sure if the apology and the tip makes up for them being passive-aggressive in the line though, while OP was standing there. Let me know what you think on this one. If you're on YouTube or on Spotify, drop a comment down below. This story comes to us from Harmony Peace. "I do work here, lady, just not right now." 1 week ago, I started a job at Walmart as one of those digital shopping fulfillment people. My job, pick items and shop for others. I scan items, place them in the correct tote bins for the digital customer orders, and then push my cart along to find the next items. Today was my first day off since starting, and I realized I needed to get groceries and other items. The Walmart where I work is also the Walmart where I shop, and I don't use a regular shopping cart. I bring my own collapsible rolling cart. Like the classic little red wagon, except mine is my favorite color, blue. Accidentally, Walmart blue. What did I decide to wear while I shopped? One of my favorite tank tops. Can't wear sleeveless tops when working. In my favorite color, blue. Walmart blue. I find myself shopping with my partner, who also happens to be wearing a blue shirt. Not quite the right shade for Walmart blue, but still blue. When this very kind older woman who looked like the sweetest grandmother gently approaches us while we are looking at candy in the candy aisle. And she says, "Excuse me, I don't mean to be a bother, and I wasn't sure if you were working or not because of all the blue." She gestures to all the blue, which neither me nor my partner fully realized was as present as it was. "But do you happen to know where the Ovaltine is?" I chuckled a little, knowing this random woman had caught me on my day off, doing my job for myself, and I looked like I knew what I was doing so much, though I'm sure the abundance of blue helped, that she approached us to ask where something was. I start looking it up on my phone and say, "Well, I actually do work here, it's just my day off. I can absolutely look that up for you." I find it and start pointing. It's just down the next aisle on the far end. She thanked me, and my partner actually went with her to show her where it was and grabbed some Ovaltine for us too. I had to share this because I couldn't believe I had my first ever simultaneous moment of I don't work here and I do work here. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Enarbon. It says, I read this expecting a Karen, but find the exact opposite. A very pleasant surprise. Another commenter down below called iGrew101 said, in this insane world, 3 people being pleasant and polite to each other is something to be proud of. But they just did something normal people should do. Nothing exceptional. But it still fills my heart with warmth and hope for humanity continues. Every once in a while, we need to read a story that has a wonderfully happy ending like this one. But they can't all be this way, right? Let's get into the next one. This story comes to us from Roxy. It's the same stuff here as there. I posted this on I Don't Work Here, and a kind person pointed me here. I was working for an establishment that was a liquor store storefront open to the public. The back was a delivery warehouse where we'd deliver alcohol, snacks, basic groceries, toiletries, your late night emergency supplies, basically. There was a small section of the front public storefront that was roped off, clearly with signs saying, employees only, and the like. Due to some overstock accessibility for the warehouse operations, you'd have to crawl under or climb over multiple ropes to get to the employee side. The door to the back warehouse area itself was part of this roped off area, and was a very small footprint at the far back of the store. The area had access to a cooler like any you'd see at a gas station, convenience, or liquor store. I'm in this roped off area doing inventory or something, I don't recall, but I got there by using the employee access door and not by climbing through the jungle gym, theoretically preventing customer access. This guy crawls between the ropes and starts browsing the cooler. I look over and say, I'm sorry, but this area is employees only. The same products are available in the cooler on the other side right over there. Nothing different. He looks surprised and says, well, I saw you in here, so I thought it was okay. I work here. The products on the other side of the ropes and chains are the same, but we have to manage this inventory separately from the inventory on the side of the barriers you crossed. Oh, well, I saw you over here, so I thought it's okay. He's still browsing the stuff as we talk. I work here. Well, there was someone else over here, so I thought it's okay. This side is for employees only, so I have to ask you to browse the same selection of products in that cooler over there. And I point at the cooler. Oh, it's the same stuff over there? Yes. Oh, okay. I just saw someone else over here, so I thought there must be something interesting. It's all the same stuff on the other side of the employee-only barrier you crawled under, I promise. He still lingered a bit, looking at the shelving like I was hiding something super secret and special from him. I just stared at him at that point. He eventually crawled back under and went to the other cooler. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Olagori. It says, are you still working there? Because I understand that the situation sucks and the customer overstepped, or in this particular case, probably understepped, but you have to learn to be much more assertive. The reason why this person didn't back off is that you weren't clear enough in your communication. You gave them too much information. Don't start to justify or explain. Thanks for sharing though. OP responded and said, no, it's been a few years since I was there. The reason I gave him information up front was because he was far from the first or only person to cross that barrier. I had a good idea what he'd argue. Already been there. He was just the most dense about it. Like, I'm an employee on the employee side. Go away, dude. I'm not sure what's over information. By addressing the concern he was missing out on something, he overstepped. He was clearly in the wrong. Call it entitlement or missing a couple french fries, whatever it might be. No one was escalating or being hurt. I've been in situations where assertiveness is key. This guy was just a little obnoxious, and the interaction was amusing. That's all. OP mentioned in this story that part of the actual store was roped off for employees only, but they had enough stuff in there that it was kinda crowding things, so maybe this customer didn't see the signs that said employees only. They just saw a bunch more product and figured, I'm going to go look at that. I do kind of agree with the commenter though, that OP could have been a little bit more assertive because what they were saying to this customer didn't make the customer move right away. They kept on trying to browse. thinking that they were missing out on something. A very clear, "I'm sorry, you're in an employee's area, you need to move now." That would be the best way to get them out of there. This story comes to us from a deleted account. Either accept my answer or don't ask me. Not sure if this goes here, but my wife said I should share this story. When I was in college, I worked for a particular department store, and one holiday season we were short-staffed. Well, to be honest, we were short-staffed every holiday season. So I volunteered to stay over to help. I clocked in at 4 a.m. and it was 5:30 p.m. at this point, and I'm set to do the whole song and dance again the next day. So needless to say, I was tired and just wanted to go home. As I am leaving, a manager for a different division, women's, calls me over because a customer can't find a particular item in my division, men's. I inform her and the customer we don't carry that item. In front of the customer, the manager turns and says, "Don't listen to him, he doesn't know what he's talking about." So I snapped, "Listen, I've been here 12 hours because you can't keep people staffed. I've worked my area for 3 years. I know every type of product we carry. We don't carry the darn thing. If you want to bother me when I'm not working to ask me a question, you could answer yourself by walking less than 100 feet, then accept my answer or don't bother me," and walked out of the store. I, obviously, was called by my store manager and told what I said was unacceptable. I asked if I was fired, and she said no, but this was going to be a written warning, and if I got another, I could face termination. I said, "Fine, never expect me to put in any additional effort. No more staying late. No more asking about credit card applications. No more measuring men for suits, because I'm literally the only person in the store who knows how for some reason, and yet don't get commissions on suits like I would at another location for the same company. I will stand at my register and check people out." She started sputtering, probably about to fire me or something, when I cut her off. One last thing, was I wrong? Do we carry that product? Have we, in the 3 years I've worked here, carried it? The answer is no. I was already planning on leaving once the spring semester was over and did not care if they fired me. I could work as a tutor and note taker from my college. That, combined with unemployment, would cover my expenses for the last few months. But as it played out, I got the warning, and that was it. I, however, did the bare minimum from then until I was out of school. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Kent Soon. It says, "Very well handled, but I don't understand why a manager would treat an employee in that way. What kind of system do they feel entitled to say such a thing to a college kid?" OP responded and said, "I'm going to assume she didn't like the fact she told a customer we carried the product, and I said we didn't without hesitation, thus making her look stupid or something, I don't know." Another commenter called Arcturus572 said, "I learned a long time ago that the extra effort you put in will be appreciated, but ignored when the chips are down, especially in any job that deals with people, like retail. And managers who care more about the customer than their employees will fire you in a heartbeat if they think they're going to get a bad review or something from the corporate office. The customer is not always right, and it should be something your manager understands." I feel like we need more context on this one. OP said that they were short-staffed over the holiday season, and they volunteered to stay to help. They clocked in at 4 a.m. and were there until 5:30 p.m. That is, 13 and a half hours at this point? So OP, are you getting overtime here? Or is this you volunteering to stay? Because that would be dumb. Looking at this from both sides, from the manager's point of view, you were being disrespectful in front of a customer. But from OP's point of view, you stayed there for a very long time, your aggravation level was probably already quite raised, and when the manager said something that you didn't like, you snapped at him. So I can kind of understand it from your side too, because dumb people saying dumb things to you can make you go off after you've been working for 13 and a half hours. Gotta be honest on this one though, and you probably won't like my opinion, but I was a manager once, and if one of my employees tried to treat me like this and talk to me like this in front of a customer, that person probably wouldn't be an employee anymore. This story comes to us from Doc Baker 74, nearly getting locked up in a mental health hospital. Context: years ago, my mother used to work as a nurse in a mental health hospital for disturbed kids. Ones that are too young to be put in jail, and too mentally ill to be let out into the world. For example, one kid is in a room with the walls covered in mattresses. Anyway, one day as my mother was working, she heard this scream, and so did all the other nurses, and everyone ran to see what happened and if anyone was hurt. But luckily, it was only a spider. Obviously, it had to go as it was causing disruptions, but no one wanted to take it out, so my mother stepped up to take it outside with a cup. When she was outside, she placed the cup on a bench and sat next to the spider and started to talk to it. The thing is that my mother was a devoted vegetarian and loved all animals, so she was just saying stuff like, "I don't get why people are scared of you." But obviously, this looked really suspicious, so the security guard came over to my mom and asked her some basic questions. Another thing about my mom is that she looks young. So the security guard thought that she was one of the kids that escaped and was randomly talking with a spider. But when my mom was trying to explain the situation, the security guard asked for her ID. She realized that she left it inside and told that to the security guard. But luckily, he walked her into the reception area and asked the receptionist, "Does this woman work here?" The receptionist looked at my mom, then looked at the security guard and said, "She does work here, but I think that just annoyed the security guard even more, but he had no choice but to let my mom go." Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called OddGamer75. It says, "People talk to themselves all the time for various reasons. People take breaks. I'm glad this didn't go too far. It easily could have." Another commenter down below called Susie Lou who said, "Spiders eat mosquitoes. I love my little spider bros. I take them outside because that's where the food is, not because I mind having them in the house." It's worth mentioning that I do not live in Australia. If they were the size of a dinner plate, I might feel differently, laugh out loud, but I still wouldn't hurt them. Isn't there a saying that says if you go to a mental hospital without a problem, they'll be sure to find you one? OP did a wonderful thing by taking the spider outside and not flushing it or crushing it, or the thing that a lot of people would do in that situation. But the weird thing is that they decided to sit down and talk to it. I understand that we need breaks, but sitting down and talking to a spider might not be the best idea in that kind of situation. The only mistake OP really did make here, though, was not taking their badge out with them. The security guard was just doing their job, and in the end, it all turned out fine. Our last story today comes to us from IT Affectionate 4481. Lady thought I was a random guy stealing monitors. I'm the IT manager. So I worked as the IT manager at a mid-sized company, and part of my job involves replacing outdated equipment. Yesterday, I was rolling out old monitors from a few desks and loading them onto a cart when a woman I'd never met before stopped me in the hallway. She immediately went into full concerned citizen mode, demanding to know where I was taking company property and if I even worked there. I introduced myself, badge and all, but she still insisted I wait right here while she called someone in HR. Long story short, I ended up awkwardly standing by the elevator for 10 minutes until someone from my team walked by and confirmed I, in fact, run the department. Has anyone else had a moment like this where you're literally doing your job, but someone assumes you're the problem? How do you even respond without sounding sarcastic? Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called Jezbod. It says, "I know of someone going into a local university lecturer's office in the UK, dressed as a security guard and using social engineering to get the laptop from the lecturer. Possibly, security has found a problem with your device kind of thing." It was not a security guard. They did not even work at the university, but they ended up with a non-encrypted laptop that could be wiped and sold on. Wearing high-vis and carrying a clipboard or a ladder can get you anywhere. Now, the funny thing about these comments is that they were posted about 4 months ago on this story, and just recently we've seen that people who are dressed in high-vis and have a ladder can absolutely get into a very secure place and walk out with, oh, I don't know, $102 million worth of French gems. Anybody see that on the news recently? That is absolutely absurd. Alright, I think it's time to end this one. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow us on your preferred podcasting platform. If you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really does help us out. I thank each and every one of you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.